Um, so dude, it just seems like the show just keeps feeding us, like they just keep on giving us news. I mean, my motherfucking notifications
They're
are
just
off
going
the
off the
chain.
hook, right? It's like you can it's like 2021 really just said, you know what, let's just do what we did last year all over again. Like it's like it's evil twin brother of 2020, and it's just
Bro,
starting
I
off
don't
crazy.
know. I don't know if news has a stock market exchange situation, but yo, news is hot right now. Like everybody's getting money. CNBC, CNN, all these guys. But
Everybody's
it's
getting
gonna
money
go
and
waste.
everybody's broke. Like that's
Right.
it's like both sides of the coin.
But it looks like yo, this dude, he's just going ham. He's about to make. I mean, we're gonna dive into it, but two impeachments, bro, in less than 14 months, 15 months,
About, but
right?
like again, it was like I felt like it
It was
was
just cause,
it was
right?
just to show face. I think they just the House did that just to show, we're here for you people. Which I thought, at the end of the day, he's okay. He's impeached, but he's not gonna be able, like nothing else is gonna happen. Like
Right.
unless they're talking about they might pursue legal action when once he's not president.
Right. That's what I heard. I mean, we're gonna try to unpack this because there's just so many things. But first of all, Pence had an opportunity to move forward on the 25th Amendment, and he declined. So basically, he had an opportunity, I guess, to get Trump out of there sooner, and he was like, "Nah, I'm good."
I think he even saw like the writing was on the wall. Like what like if you
Right.
understand government, you understand civics. Like it's gonna take time. Even when you impeach somebody, like it's not like you impeach, you're gone, you're out of there. It doesn't work like that. The government doesn't work how people think it works. Only people who are educated on the topic knows how it works. So like, if you impeach him, you still got to go through a process where it has to go to the Senate, and then that's a whole
Hmm.
nother process in itself. And then he has a chance to defend himself. But like, you're doing all this for nothing when he's out. And what are we? A week. He's literally out next Friday, or yeah,
Right.
next Friday. He's out of the office. Like it's just I feel like it's just
Pointless.
a show face. It's more propaganda than it is anything else. That's how I look at it.
No, no, no. I agree. I agree. I was confused because I'm like, why? I know the saving face part, but I'm like, why are you even bothering? I mean, they're wasting our tax dollars, convening in rooms, voting to kick out a guy that at the end of the day is going to leave anyway. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, they only handed out $600 checks when they should be reconvening on, I think, putting more money into the economy. Because right now it's holding up by stilts. I don't even know how people. There's no work,
What they need
so
to
I don't know.
do is open everything. Like that's it. Like that's the
Yeah.
perfect solution to everything. Like stop with this keeping everything closed down stuff. Like it's we have almost a year of it now. It's
I know it's not wild, bro.
it's not working.
Dude, I thought in like March of last year, I was like, they were saying, well, it's gonna take like 2 years, blah blah. I was like, that's impossible. And then, I started flirting with the idea that it was
And
kind of over because summer opened up, everything was
Yep.
kind of thing. I'm
then
like,
George
boom,
Floyd, boom.
bye. Yeah. Well, that was a whole nother situation because I feel like that even was um and I don't want to use the word exaggerated, but blown up more, like it's been happening for a while. They just picked that particular situation. Now, granted, that was like one of the most egregious things we've seen probably since Rodney King, but it seems to have died down that whole momentum, right? Like now BLM seems to be more like with a punchline. But I know that they were protesting in DC like crazy after all of this stuff, and then it seemed like they called in the National Guard and they got all this other stuff and everything is going down. So Washington is a mess.
It
It's a
is.
mess.
It is. It's just, and it's just sad because you could just see how both sides, like how one side tries to silence the other side. So like
Right.
you have the Democrats trying to silence the Republicans, and like it doesn't work that way. Like you can't silence people because you don't agree with them. That's not how this works. That's why America is supposed to be what America stands for. And if you are trying to silence somebody because you don't like how it works, then we're losing our way. And it's kind of sad how you're telling restaurant owners, you're telling daycare people, you're telling all these people how they can't open their businesses or anything like that. But then you go and you have these big tech companies that go and they silence people on the internet just
Yeah,
because
that's crazy.
you don't agree with their ideology. So they remove Parler from the
The
Play
Google
Store.
Play Store and
They remove
iTunes.
Parler from everywhere.
Right. Parler doesn't exist anymore, basically.
It's put like that. They removed it from people to go to group up. So now you tell these people who, if you don't like Facebook, if you don't like Instagram, if you don't like Twitter, don't go to these sites. Go to somewhere else, make your own thing, and go do that. Well, they did, and
Mm-hmm.
then you had a private business shut down that forum for people
Mm.
who are like-minded, who had echoing a sentiment that you didn't agree with. But just because you don't agree with them, it shouldn't be shut down. But then you're gonna tell a pizza spot or the local corner store you can't open because of COVID. Like it's a whole bunch of contradicting things going on back and forth because you're gonna say at one hand they're private business, but then there's other private businesses that you're not letting open, or you're fining, or you're arresting. So like you're talking out of both sides of your mouth, which is it's not a good thing and it doesn't look right for where we're heading.
I started to trip out, bro, because first of all, I started to think, man, you know, when you look at overall America's history is kind of terrible, bro. It's not like it's crazy to think like when you start to like really pull the tea leaves. I mean, when you start to really pull it back and you start to read the tea leaves, yeah, we had the Industrial Revolution. Yeah, we had all of these innovations in the tech spaces and you know the internet's been huge here. But overall, bro, I feel like this has been the whole thing the whole time. We've never really had like I was thinking about this the other day. How can potential slave owners write on a piece of paper all men are free? That's
Exactly.
crazy,
Hmm.
right? When that's not true. And then now fast forward to where we're at right now, we thought we had all these freedoms. We thought we had freedom of speech, and it's kind of looking like we don't. Especially when you can take down, like you said, it's like, hey, don't fuck with this. There's one over there. You can say whatever you want. So it's like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go over there. But then when I go over there, you're like, nah, fuck that. That's over.
Exactly.
That's shut down. You can't go over there now because we don't like what they're saying over there. So again, when you're talking about the two sides of the mouth, it's like, what is okay? Is it okay for us to be able to express ourselves? Right. But then there's another situation that's kind of weird, right? Because now I feel like, you know how cancel culture was getting thrown around a lot?
Yep. They were just.
I feel like hate speech is a new one that's getting thrown around a lot.
I agree. I
You
could
know what I mean? Like
definitely agree with that.
that's the new kind of like punchline to be like, whoa, that was hate speech, so you're done. But I mean, I don't know. I'm confused. I don't know. Maybe we're confused. Maybe social media is not what we think it is. Maybe social media is not a place where you have an avenue to express your thoughts and your creative side. It's just within a parameter. As long as you're in that box and you're okay with that, then it's good. Because a large portion of it too is once we sign, you know, those agreements, when we sign up, it's in it saying, hey, you know, you can't say hate speech, right? But I feel like the word hate speech is kind of blurred because if I don't agree with somebody, right, and let's say, for example, let's say I don't like Hillary Clinton's, you know, approach on taxes, right? I'm like, fuck that bitch, she sucks, terrible senator. That's considered hate speech. I don't
Under,
know if that's considered hate
under,
speech or if that's considered talking shit, right? Like now, granted, if you like fuck that bitch, I'm gonna kill her. That's a little different, but it's like again, it's like a very
but again,
weird space. You know what I mean?
again and it's tough because if you're reading characters, you can interpret it any way you want,
100%.
depending on
Yes.
how what type of person you are. If you're a paranoid person, if you're not, if you're a person who likes a sense of humor. Because if you could say, all right, fuck Hillary Clinton, I'm gonna kill that bitch. But if I'm saying it, let's say if I send a video out, we're
Mhm.
talking about how laughing and how oh shit that bitch is creepy, and we're laughing while saying it is different
Right.
than writing it down or reading it in a character in a
Right. Because
character
even
sense.
emojis don't explain the joke,
Exactly.
right?
Because you
Like
could even put a knife with a happy face, and it still wouldn't be like
it's not going to be received well.
like you would understand me because you know
Yes.
me.
Right. Right.
But if you're gonna try to talk to the masses who don't know you, then it's gonna be perceived that way. Just like when the whole Kevin Hart thing, we spoke about it last week. How you know
Mhm.
whatever him my son if he was gay or whatever the hell, he clearly was joking, but they're trying to
Right.
take the words of the context
Correct.
out of
Yeah.
it because it's typed in.
Right. I also think too that it's something that Gary Vee talks about a lot, right? Where it's content versus context.
Correct.
Right? Like that's what you were saying. Like in the context of us, you can say mad crazy shit, and I already know like that's Jay, he's joking, blah blah,
Mm-hmm.
right? But in moving it forward to someone else, the content might not have that same context for someone else. So it's very difficult. So maybe that's a slippery slope that they created a space, especially on Twitter, because Twitter is very, very word heavy, right? It's not
Correct.
so much video and everything else. I think
But then
like
again, it also comes to if let's say if you say let's say you say you're a conservative, right? Let's just say if you
mhm,
just say you was a conservative, just saying that you're conservative, you're already about to have this big stigma behind you,
yeah,
even if
it's about to
people
push
don't
it
know
out.
you. So let's say if you say you're a conservative and say, hey, I don't believe that all
So
babies are cute. Just put it like that. If all babies aren't cute, but you're conservative, so they're gonna be like, oh, you hate babies, or you are against abortion, or just something
you're a baby
stupid.
hater.
Correct. Like even like personally to me, I don't think all babies are cute. I've seen ugly babies. But if I type that and if I have a conservative tag behind that, the whole narrative changes on how these
Mhm.
woke people in this woke culture will attack me in a certain way just because of who I am. Even if sometimes they eat their own,
Yes. Yeah, they
and
totally do.
and
Not
that's the scary
sometimes,
part.
most of the time.
Yeah, and that's the scary part where if I'm like, let's say if I'm on the left and I'm for everything, social programs, blah blah blah, and then if I say something that it doesn't align with them, they will then come after me, even if I agree with 95% of what they're trying to fight for. And it's a scary place because Twitter's just a lot of loud people screaming with no context,
Mhm.
and
Well,
I don't know
that's I
where it's
mean,
going.
it's potentially a soundboard. I think it's dangerous where we're going. I think we got to be careful. I mean, I had another show with some other guys, and they felt a lot like you, like let's let the show roll and be renegade and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
now you kind of have like a little bit of responsibility to your own product that you don't get canceled or you don't get shut down. So you kind of have to be, on eggshells. I mean, I've seen Rogan multiple times kind of pump the brakes. Like he'll get on the fringe, but he won't get too crazy.
But like he's been real open. He'll apologize if
If he
he's
says something
wrong about
crazy,
something.
yes,
If he's
right,
wrong, but sometimes he has like if he says something, he stands by it if he strongly believes in it, kind of thing. So like with the women, with men who turn to women who are fighting against other real biological women, like he stands by that because he's a commentating fighting
right,
expert. Like he
correct,
believes that men shouldn't fight women, even if you are a woman now who used to be a
right,
man for 30 years. Like he'll stand on his ground. But if he says some shit that he read online, which is headlines, which
right. He has to be
85% of
careful on that.
people
Yeah, uh huh.
do, they
That's all of
read,
us.
yeah, like 85% of people, 90% I would even say, read the headline and then spew something that they didn't read the
Right,
article. So like when
right.
I have conversations with people and they say, well, did you see that Trump slapped some Pelosi or
Yeah,
some shit?
yeah, uh
I'm like,
huh.
I seen the headline, but I didn't read the article. Like that's how I always come across because I want to make sure I get the full context and understand everything before I give my opinion on it. Not saying I'm gonna know everything top to bottom, but I'm gonna read the article or something that everybody's freaking out about.
At least check it out a little bit, right? Like you just
Exactly.
can't be talking shit based on headlines because that'd be fucking bananas.
Which,
You know,
but that's what Twitter is.
I know. Yes, right, right.
That's
Well,
what.
that's what I think. I think Jack Dorsey's in a really, really tough situation because to bring it back to Rogan for a second, he's been on Rogan,
Mm-hmm.
and he agrees that there should be like a regular Twitter and then a Wild West Twitter, right, where
Mm-hmm.
anything goes. But now it seems like that might not be a thing, right? And so like you got some of these dudes in positions that are maybe being forced to do things that they don't want to be doing, right? And the same thing with the dude from the CEO of Parler. All of a sudden, your shit is shut down. What are you supposed to do now? You
Exactly.
know?
And it's
I mean, I think
scary for even us. Let's say if we had a moderate base. Let's say we had 1,000 people who watch us every single time. They donated to us on YouTube, whatever the case may be. We get ad revenue from YouTube, and then YouTube says, "Well, you agreed
like
with something Trump said.
yes, yep.
That's your first
Take
strike."
it down.
And
Mm-hmm.
then the second strike, and then you're banned. Off. What if that was our only source of income? Like,
Mm-hmm.
which is a lot of
That's
creatives.
happened to a lot of dudes.
Exactly.
a lot of people have been kicked off of YouTube. I mean, I think even Rogan is like, yo, can we say that? Can we show that? Can we do that? Okay, I don't want
Exactly.
to get kicked off. I don't want to get shut down because obviously a lot of people are counting on that revenue. I think that it's going to create an interesting space where now maybe some of these guys at Y Combinator, which is like a spot where a lot of these ideas for apps and stuff get funded with financial angels. I think now there's going to be some room for growth, right? Like somebody's got to be clamming to be like, yo, we got to open up another version of Parler or another version of Twitter
But
or
does it
another version
matter
of
because
Instagram.
they if they get a prominent figure who doesn't agree or align with their thing, promote that
Then we need to
app.
then we need to make a new app store. Then fuck
That
that.
that
We
that
gotta,
would that has to be it. That would have to be
right?
the
That would
next
be the
thing
answer.
because you
Yeah.
can like. That's why I love Android because let's say if Parler were still up and running. The reason why, like, there's another reason why Parler got shut down was supposedly that the security was bad. Like they didn't have
Mm.
good security, so they you could
Uh-huh.
so they like you could
But that's
find
kind of bullshit because they said the same thing about TikTok,
for
right?
sure,
TikTok was fucking from China, so all of a sudden the fucking Chinese
for
are reading
sure,
your goddamn emails,
correct.
right?
So, um, in order to do that, right, and release a party store, whatever the case. Oh, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
that wasn't my. I lost my train of thought. Oh, like why I love Android. So like let's say if Parler was still up and running, but they took the apps off the App Store, but the app was still running. Since you
Right, right.
already have it on your phone, you can still use it. So like,
Mm.
remember a couple of years ago when it had the Floppy Bird shit, where you had to go like under the pipe, over the pipe. It was like a video game. And what
Okay,
happened
let's say
was that
I
one
pretend I
guy,
know.
so it was a video game on your phone. Once you have it downloaded to your phone and it's still
You have
operational,
it for life.
you have it
Yeah.
for life. So you had people who were selling their phones with the game on it for like 3-4 grand. But the reason why I got banned
Ah,
off of all these stores was these two guys were playing. One guy beat the other guy's score and the other guy killed him
in real life?
in real life.
Damn.
So it was something along those. It was called Floppy Bird. So the game was still functioning on the phone. So if
Mm.
Parler was still functioning on the phone, you could download the APK file to the phone, unzip it, and then you could just get it anyway. So that's why I like Android, and I'm pretty sure on Apple you won't be able to
Nah,
do that.
there's not. They don't even allow you to like download certain things. Like remember that movie site we used to get with?
Yeah.
You could do that, on the Droid all day.
Yep.
But Apple was like, no,
No shot. Exactly.
nothing.
So
You're done.
like
That's a lot of power, bro. So how the fuck all of a sudden Amazon and Apple and Google? I mean, we already knew this, but now they're getting bigger now, where they're actually controlling and basically like they're the gatekeepers.
I
You
saw a
fuck with the
stat,
gatekeeper,
which is
you're
kind
not
of
being let
crazy.
in.
And
They're the bouncer of the club.
let's put this in perspective. I love Elon Musk, right? But during the pandemic, he's become the richest man in the world. Like during the pandemic, that's there's nothing against that. There's nothing against him. There's been 50 new billionaires this year alone during a
Jesus,
pandemic, 2020.
crazy, bro. Yeah,
Which is how are you more billionaires in a pandemic where people can't work, can't do
no money
anything, no supposedly no money,
supposedly.
and there's 50 new billionaires.
Bro, think about this. The number that was released in the news, right? I don't remember who released it first, but the original number was 200 billion during um the pandemic.
Uh-huh.
Then it got revised and it went to 800 billion. Based on what you're telling me right now, bro, it's more like 100 billion. So you're telling me in the most crisis time of our history, there were some folks who were able to generate $100 billion, bro.
Or
That's
more than that, like
crazy.
probably a trillion.
More for sure, way more. I'm giving it the line there because originally it was only 200 bill,
Just
and that's
think
that's
about
not a
this:
fact.
the Great Depression, right? The stock market
Uh-huh.
crashed; it bottomed out.
Yes.
In last year, nobody working supposedly. 40, 50 million Americans out. The stock market's up the entire year.
Yeah. Uh huh.
So
I've
like,
watched it. I've watched it, dude. Tesla in February of 2020 was about $600-700 a share. In less than 4 months, it went up to $2,500.
yep,
That's crazy. I mean, if you would have took your original stimulus check and would have bought 4, you would have caked up.
you would have
You would have caked
you would
up.
have been better, or bought it when it went the stock split
Right.
when in the
Either
middle of the
way.
year.
And look, it just split, right?
Mm-hmm.
To 420 and it's back up to 820.
Yep.
So you would have doubled up again.
Yep.
So it's. I was just telling that to my wife. I'm like, man, this is a very. Not only is this a weird time in history, like shit is just not making sense at all,
And that's
at
why
all,
like the
at all, at
proponent
all.
for Bitcoin is
You
it's
see what happened? Look at what happened to Bitcoin. Bitcoin was like 10,000, right?
now it's
Check this shit out,
40,000.
Jay. I was just telling my man. I'm looking at Bitcoin, right? I play a little bit in the market. I'm not a heavy hitter, but I play a little bit. So I'm looking. I had a couple shares of some other things, and I'm like, damn, Bitcoin 10,000. That kind of looks good, right? But I can only buy one,
Hmm.
right? Because if I would have bought one, it went up to $40,000. One, I
Yep.
would have tripled my investment. The only thing about Bitcoin, a story that, or a headline, I shouldn't say story, a headline that I read was there's 140, I think, $1 million of Bitcoin that's not being claimed because motherfuckers forgot their password.
I'm gonna keep it a stack. I think I'm one of
You
them.
want to?
I think I have one Bitcoin and I can't for the life of me remember my password.
That's bananas.
So I don't
See,
even
that's why I get scared.
but,
I'm like, I can't fuck with you.
but my thing is like I don't know how that like that should have been like whoever created the Coinbase, it should have
Mhm.
been I don't know a 5 step.
So hold on, I don't want to interrupt you real
Uh,
quick. So you can't go. You know how like you lock yourself out of your email and shit, and then
no,
you be
you
like,
can't,
okay,
you have
no,
to
nothing.
remember
You
that
can't reset yourself. You can't reset the
your
password.
password. No,
That shit is. Them dudes are raping people. That's a rape.
the way it works is you have to remember a phrase. So whatever
Ah.
my dog Sally
So
jumped
my
over a
first dog
couch,
was. My
whatever.
fucking first car was
It
the
has to
street that
be
I
it
grew up
has to
on.
be it has to be a phrase, a 12 word or 12 thing phrase. So it'd be like whatever. I love my Xbox forever. It has to be something along those lines.
My God, that's fucking brutal, bro.
So
You gotta write that
I
shit down
think
word for word.
exactly. So imagine if I had like 10 Bitcoin, you're fucked
No, you would have been a millionaire, pa. Right now you're on the
or
gate.
close to it. Like
Facts. And you would have had 100K at 10 times 10 at least,
yep.
right? I mean, it's up to
And
35, I
I
think, the
would have
last
been
I
around.
checked.
I would have been around 40, $400,000.
Yeah.
Let's say if I
It's
had
crazy,
10
bro.
Bitcoin, like, but we like that. I was looking at it this week, and I'm like, they got to be a better way because like people are gonna forget their passwords. Like
Come on,
it's
bro.
just
That's why the fuck you. Come on.
so. But I like nah. I'm not trying to. I was trying to make the
To rack
comparison
Bitcoin.
to
Mhm.
Bitcoin. The system of that is decentralized. So let's say if I have 10 Bitcoin, right?
Mhm.
If I give you 5 Bitcoin, then you
Mhm.
give somebody else 2 Bitcoin, and then gives that
Mhm.
person gives somebody else 1 Bitcoin.
Okay.
There's a ledger. There's a ledger.
Like they could
Jay
huh?
had Jay had this.
10. Then he
Chris
broke off
got the
5.
Chris got his 1 Bitcoin, and it goes up the ladder all the way to Jay's 10.
Right.
So everything, every single Bitcoin is tracked. You can't hide nothing. There's no this shell shit. There's nothing that to the Cayman Islands. There's nothing
Right.
money laundering.
Wow. So it's
Every
all tracked.
everything is tracked. So every
So how come you
donation,
can't get it back? That
that's
doesn't
it.
make any sense.
That now that's
Doesn't
the
make no
issue.
sense. So my thing is, okay, so let me ask you, because you bought a Bitcoin once, right? Did you
Correct.
buy it on the internet? I don't mean to be
Yes.
an idiot, but yeah,
Yeah.
okay. You put your first and last name, right?
Correct.
You don't put your street address, your social, none of that shit. It's just your
No,
first name,
because I bought
email,
it
and
with
then the 12.
PayPal. I bought it with PayPal.
Right. So you should be able to reclaim it through PayPal. Like that doesn't even make any fucking sense. Like there's a paper trail of that I have it. There's another paper trail that I bought it. How come I can't fucking get it? I mean, I am Jason fucking
Now,
Bermudez. Fucking
that's
bought
what
it.
I was trying to get to. Like, how does I gotta do more research on this, and we're
Yo,
going
you
off.
better find that
When we're
fucking
going off
coin. I know we are. We're going a little
on a
off topic,
tangent,
folks.
but like, there's a guy who
Hold
has
tight. We're gonna
supposedly has $220 million of Bitcoin, but he can't get
I
into his
can't get it.
wallet because he forgot his password.
See, that's why I'm not fucking with it. Because there's no way I would remember that shit. You know how many? I have emails I can't even fucking get into because I don't.
You know,
I like
like
send it to the
it's
phone.
that's the only thing that they need to I don't know figure out how people like because it's gonna happen. People are gonna forget their password.
Not only that, and we'll slide off after this. I think that you would make more people interested, right? Like, let's say you got 1/3 of the people bought in and they actually own a coin, right?
Hmm.
But the other 2.5 are like, well, it's a little shady. It's not backed by anything, and I can't get back into my shit if I forget my shit. If they were to make it a little bit easier, then I feel like probably Bitcoin would go through the roof again, right?
Probably,
Because it
yeah.
can't be. I mean, 200, bro. If you had 200 mil and you can't get that back, I don't know, man. Harry Carey, I would be thinking about that shit real heavy.
Yeah, like
because that's gotta
and
suck.
it sucks because I don't even remember I'm trying to remember the password from that time, and for the most part,
Why you make it so fucking complicated, bro?
I've used the same password for the most part for the
Right.
longest. So I was trying to put that, and that didn't even work. So what I'm gonna try to do
They have
is,
no trial and error shit,
I
nothing.
think you get 10 attempts, and if you do, you're locked out of your wallet
Forever.
forever.
All right. All right. So let's get